I'm going to talk a little bit about reincarnation. Um, of course, it's a popular subject and much debated. And I just want to explore it a little bit from a practical point of view, like what good is it thinking about it? Of course, no one's come back and talked about it. And it's not something that's easy to prove through logic. So let's just look at it in terms that are not particularly religious or spiritual and approach it from a different angle, a conventional angle. Basically, the problem arises like, of course, Buddhism says there is no self. And if there's no self, what is it that is reborn? So Christianity, of course, says there is a self, and so do other traditions, a soul. So what gives? No self or self? Well, first of all, let's understand what a Buddhist means when he says no self. Because obviously, somebody's home. When we go to sleep at night and we wake up in the morning, there's a sense of who we are, a sense of belonging to a family, to a community. What is it that belongs? What is it that feels that sense of identity? And that's basically the self we all experience. It's kind of the possessor of all of our activities, our actions, and what we identify with. But we look for something that's underlying all of our experiences and try to find something that doesn't change, that's changeless, eternal, so to speak. A substance. And we believe that that exists, that there's something beneath all of our experiences that hold those experiences together. So Buddhism asks us to inquire if that belief is imposed upon something from our side onto something that's always changing. So, in other words, are we imposing a stable, imagined self on a self that's continuously changing? And there you have the problem. There is no unchanging substratum, that's we consider real, because change characterizes everything. So to try and believe in something that's impossible, gets us into a lot of trouble, philosophically, logically, and in reality. And if we can accept that our nature is always characterized by change, then we understand that a little bit about what Buddhism is talking about when it says no self. It means that there's no substantial self. By substantial, we mean eternal self. Eternal means unchanging, always the same. So what others might call self in their traditions or soul is an eternal, imagined self, which Buddhism says is impossible. What is possible is a continuum that's characterized by change and transformation. So when we talk about what is reborn, well, when Buddhism says there's no self that's reborn, it doesn't mean that we fall out of existence somehow upon death, or that we disappear. It means that there's nothing that we can identify with as stable and eternal. That is who we are, as distinct from every other eternal being on the planet. What it says is that there's a continuum of consciousness, a consciousness continuum that goes on and on and on and on, and has gone on and on and on and on forever. And it's characterized by change and transformation. So this brings us to another important question that is often asked. Well, if there's no self, what about karma? And what point is it to be a good person? And if there's no reward or punishment in the future, why bother with thinking about it at all? But this view is really a view that doesn't look very deeply into the question at all. We all heard of the idea of karma. So there's kind of a Buddhist joke that goes like this. This very rich man had 3 sons. And he said to them, come in, well, he was dying. So he said he called his first son into his room. The first son was gold. And he said, I'm dying, please come with me. And Gold said, I'm not going with you. You go by yourself. And his second son was named Silver, and he called Silver in. And he said the same thing. I'm not going with you, you just die. I'm not going anywhere. Then he called his third son in, whose name was Karmic Obstruction. Karmic Obstruction said, yeah, I'm going, count me in. So when we, some people want to make a metaphysical thing out of rebirth and talk about a soul being born and next life and this and that. But why go there at all? Why not just think about how you want to wake up the next morning? What person you want to identify with, and start there. Rather than think about next life and reincarnation, why not first think about, who am I? How do I want to wake up tomorrow? How do I want my kids to wake up tomorrow? My family, my friends, the people I care about, my parents. So when we go to sleep at night, the person that wakes up in the morning wakes up to pretty much the same world he left before he went to sleep some hours earlier. That doesn't change much. But day after day and little by little and from time to time, if every day we try and be a little bit better person, love a little more, give a little more, be kind a little more, and teach a little more, improve ourselves a little more, then little by little, when we go to sleep at night, next day we wake up a little bit better. And over a long period of time, day after day, over the years, change and transformation takes place. And that's really wonderful. So there are really great beings on this planet right now that when they have left this world at some previous time, when they come back and they're reincarnated, it's like you and I when we go to sleep. But the whirlwind of death and rebirth, which is so powerful, it confuses us ordinary people. It doesn't confuse them any more than sleep confuses us. So there are some who may not talk about, yeah, I was so-and-so, or I was reborn and this and that. But they have incredible wisdom that accumulated over a long period of time that enables them to pass through the what's called the bardo, or the in-between state between life and rebirth, without becoming confused by it. Just as easy as you and I can go to sleep at night and wake up not being confused, and we know who we are. So understanding rebirth and reincarnation for us ordinary people begins with us just understanding who we are within the context of this life, and understand that basically every single night when we go to sleep and every single morning when we wake up, we're reincarnating. And we're beginning a new chapter in our life. So we want to write a good story every day, so it gets better and better as we move through a lifetime. And then when we get a little wiser, maybe we can think more in a more enlightened way about rebirth and who's reborn and what's reborn and so forth.